Our special guest on Left, Right and Centre tonight is India's former Home Minister and former Finance Minister Mr. P. Chidambaram, who's come out with his latest book. It's called Fearless in Opposition, Power and Accountability, which is a collection of many of the essays that he has written for the Indian Express over the last couple of years, and they deal with many subjects ranging from terrorism to the economy to politics and much, much more. Mr. Chidambaram, great to have you back on the show. Thank you for joining us today. Well, let me get on to the specific essays that you've compiled in this particular book, and of course I'll get to demonetization first, because that's an issue we've been debating at length now for some time. Arun Jaitley the other day made a dig at you, saying basically that, you know, when you were in power you didn't do anything about black money. At least he's accused you of not doing anything about black money, and saying that now politicians have turned into columnists. What would you say to him?
Well, if ministers can become bloggers, why not MPs turn columnists? He should actually welcome debate in the public domain. What are they afraid of? If they have an answer to my columns, they should write a counter column. I'm sure op-ed pages will give them the space. Be that as it may, I think this government will never acknowledge what was done by any previous government. In fact, they say for 70 years there was only destruction. Forgetting that, of those 70 years, 6 years Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, and for 2.5 years Mr. Morarji Desai and Mr. Charan Singh, supported by Mr. Vajpayee and Mr. Advani, were Prime Ministers. Again, let's leave that aside. What did the UPA do to tackle black money? Firstly, it was the UPA which instituted what is called third-party reporting. Transaction between A and B, even if A and B don't report it, there are third parties who are obliged to report it. For example, your car dealer, the registrar of properties, they have to report these transactions. Secondly, we set up the FIU, the Financial Intelligence Unit, which gathers millions of pieces of information every day called suspicious transactions and reports to the Central Board of Direct Taxes and Central Board of Excise and Customs. Thirdly, we introduced and implemented for 3 years the banking cash transaction tax, which created and left a trail of cash transactions. Please remember, the BJP opposed it tooth and nail. So the BJP can't say we didn't do anything. We did something innovative. The BJP opposed it tooth and nail. We persevered with it for 3 years until other instruments were in place. And finally, the only list that the government has got of people who've got accounts abroad are the Liechtenstein list and the France-German government's list. Both lists were obtained when the UPA was in office. The investigation started in UPA's tenure. The first prosecutions were launched in UPA's tenure. I think the finance minister should go into the records and check for them himself whether what I've said is right or wrong.
You know, you said you would like to debate him on this, and you know, one of the things that he's said in response to your earlier criticism was, A, that he admits that yes, there'll be areas that would be adversely impacted, but he goes on to say that direct taxes had grown by 14%, indirect taxes more than 26%, the Rabi crop sowing has been higher than last year. I'm quoting Mr. Jaitley here. Life insurance businesses have increased, international tourism has gone up, air passenger traffic has increased, the flow into mutual funds has increased by 11%. These are the specifics that Mr. Jaitley is listing out as how the economy has actually benefited from this step, and he seems to suggest has not been adversely impacted by the note ban.
If all this is correct, why is the revised estimate of income tax exactly the same figure as the budget estimate of income tax? Why is the revised estimate of corporate tax the same figure as the budget estimate of corporate tax? Why is he not able to estimate that we will get more than what is budgeted for? And again, if all this is true, why does the Central Statistics Office lower the growth from 7.6 to 7.1 as of October? Why does the Reserve Bank lower the growth from 7.6 to 6.9? And why does the IMF lower the growth from 7.6 to 6.6? And why does the CMIE lower the growth from 7.6 to 6.0? As I said somewhere, everyone knows that growth has slowed down except the government of India.
In terms of though your assessment of the impact of demonetization, and you rightly said that these growth estimates have been revised and by the government itself, how do you see it playing out though over the next few months? Is the worst behind us or is the worst yet to come?
The worst is not behind us. I don't think matters will get worse. I think we'll limp along. I think 2016-17 will end with a growth of below 6.5%. And going into 2017-18, I think growth will be approximately 6.5%. We might recover in 2018-19.
But do you believe that despite these economic figures, that the Prime Minister has successfully created a narrative around himself as being the sort of the messiah for the poor, as the man who is looking out for their interests? Because you can see a perceptible shift in how he's projecting himself. When he was elected, I think many people thought that he was somebody with the kind of majority that he had who would bring in big economic reforms, and that messaging slowly seems to have shifted. And in every rally after rally, even when he speaks about this, and he doesn't speak about it as much as he used to, but when he does, it's sort of to build up this narrative of the poor against the rich. Look, I'm helping you guys out, and the rich are suffering as a result. Do you think that he's been able to manage that perception fairly well?
Well, he's cleverly changed the narrative from time to time. He started with black money, counterfeiting and terrorist financing. He changed it to anti-corruption. Then he changed it to cashless economy. Now he's talking about empowerment of the poor. But tell me, which rich man stood in a queue? Which rich man seems to have been affected by demonetization? I still hear about destination weddings and high spending parties. I think the poor have been devastated by demonetization. Yes, a section of the poor think that not only have they been hurt, but the rich have been hurt. But the truth is, it's the poor and the middle class who've been hurt. It's the small and medium enterprises which have been hurt. It is the self-employed and the daily manual laborer who have been hurt. And I think anecdotal stories from journalists who are covering the 5 state elections tell us that after the first few minutes, people are opening up and criticizing vehemently demonetization.
How important, Mr. Chidambaram, do you think this election in Uttar Pradesh in particular is, especially as we look ahead to the general election? How important is it for all of the parties that are contesting, for Rahul Gandhi and the SP and that alliance? What the impact could be on, let's say, Rahul Gandhi as a potential leader for a 2019 alliance? What a win for the BJP would mean. How important do you think the state election actually is?
See, I think it is critical for the BJP. My assessment is that the BJP has already lost Punjab. The Akali BJP alliance has lost Punjab. I can't say who will win, but the Akali BJP have lost Punjab. And I think if the BJP loses Uttar Pradesh, in the sense that the BJP is unable to form the government there, it will be a huge setback for the Prime Minister. Voices will be raised within his own party. On the question of who will form the government,
no, but conversely, if they win UP, would you concede that that will strengthen Mr. Modi's hand, especially ahead of the general election?
Yes, if the BJP wins in UP and forms the government, it will indeed strengthen the Prime Minister. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, that I think everybody will agree on that. if the SP and Congress form the government, I think it will give a big boost to the Congress and the SP would have retained power. If the BSP wins and forms the government, it will be a huge setback for the BJP. It will be a snub for the Congress and the SP. But I can't predict the outcome of the election. On the basis of reports that I have got and am getting, I am reasonably confident that the BJP will not form the government, and the edge today is with the SP and Congress.
But isn't there an impact that we'll also see on Rahul Gandhi's political future, Mr. Chidambaram? Very honestly, because you now have, for instance, Akhilesh Yadav, you have Mamata Banerjee, possibly Arvind Kejriwal, especially if he wins Punjab. You have all, these various regional leaders, Nitish Kumar in his own right, all of whom are possible claimants to being leader of an opposition alliance in 2019. Therefore, isn't this crucial also for Rahul Gandhi, the Congress's performance in UP?
See, you are looking at 2019. The next parliament election is 2019 May. That's 2 years and 3 months away. There are many leaders in this country. The difference is that Mr. Nitish Kumar, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, Mr. Kejriwal are one state leaders as we speak. As we speak, they are confined to one state. The only pan-Indian party other than the BJP is the Congress party. And the leader of the Congress party will always be a pan-Indian leader, whether he wins an election in one state or loses the election in another state. The leader of a pan-Indian party will always be a pan-Indian leader. And when the elections to parliament take place, it will depend upon whether a single party gets an absolute majority or whether a coalition of parties are able to put together a majority. Depending upon which scenario occurs, the leader will be chosen to head the government. I think we are speculating on something which is not even around the corner.
Yes, but the pitch builds up, the alliances do build up earlier than this is probably the time when the build up happens. But the other day at your book launch in Delhi, Nitish Kumar said...
I don't think so. I don't think
you
so.
don't think so? It's too early. Okay,
yes.
You're saying it's too early. Nitish
I don't think alliances build up.
Not alliances,
yes,
but sort of the political atmosphere. But Nitish Kumar said the other day that the opposition needs to unite, it needs to work on its agenda and not just react. Wise words, you think? I mean, were you surprised that Nitish said that the other day because of all the speculation that he may be going soft on the BJP?
No, I was very pleased. I had no doubt about Mr. Nitish Kumar's secular credentials. See, basically Mr. Nitish Kumar is left of center, completely secular and progressive. Therefore, he could never join hands with the BJP. He can maybe for some time maintain a distance from the left and left of center parties, but eventually if he wishes to work with other political parties, the natural allies are the Congress and other left of center and progressive parties. The BJP can never be his natural ally.
Well, what he said though on opposition unity, I mean, isn't that going to be the big challenge for the opposition ahead of the next election? I think you can honestly say it doesn't look likely that any opposition party on its own at the moment doesn't look likely it would be able to form the government. And yet you have, even though as you said, they may be one state leaders right now, but these are, big leaders in their own states, maybe more than one state. How do you reconcile all of those egos and all of those clashes? Isn't that going to be the biggest challenge?
I entirely agree with Mr. Nitish Kumar that maximum opposition unity is the need of the hour, especially when you have a dominant and domineering personality as the Prime Minister. It is important that we forge maximum opposition unity. Suppose the next government can only be formed by a coalition of parties. Like in 1996 and 1997, a leader will emerge. I'm not saying that the current one-state leader cannot become Prime Minister. Of course he can. Mr. GOVT became Prime Minister. But that will depend upon which parties come together and who emerges as the acceptable candidate. But I think, aren't we speculating much too ahead of the elections? I think closer to there are other state elections coming. So all that will have a important part to play in deciding whether there will be a coalition and who will be the leader. It's quite possible
Yes.
that the tide can turn and a party can get an absolute majority.
Is that wishful thinking at this point? Do you think Mr. Modi is really beatable at
No, nothing
this
is
point?
wishful. No. Nobody is unbeatable. That's what you thought in Delhi. Mr. Kejriwal, head of an upstart party, defeated him. Mr. NITISH Kumar put together a coalition and defeated him. And I think he has already been defeated in Punjab. And if he's defeated in Uttar Pradesh, I hope you will change your mind that he's not invincible.
All right, Mr. Chidambaram, we hope that you will continue to write and be fearless, not just in opposition, but perhaps in government one day if you are ever back in power. Thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.